Greetings. This is a presentation of the work of Rose Nibagwire and the catalyst which she has used to start the Rwandan Women's Permaculture Group. This presentation is for the Scottish Universities Insight Committee, and we're very proud to share our work that we've been going on across this network. My name is Steve Jones. I'm the director of Sector 39, and our objective is to we offer teacher permaculture training and project development, and we work with permaculture pioneers really around the world and try and support them in their work. And through that, we're trying to build an academy of permaculture, which is a network, a peer-to-peer support network for people engaged in these activities. This first picture is from 2018. That's myself there with the Permaculture Rwanda team that came to the full permaculture design course that we hosted Sanjay in Uganda. It's Rose, Barnaby, and Olivier who came and completed their studies. As I understand it, they knew each other from university, where they had studied in the Department of Agriculture and Veterinary Sciences. In the work and the project work that Rose was engaged in inspired us to build links and build partnership, and with the support of Arkleton Trust in the UK, an organisation that supports knowledge transfer, we were able to build this relationship and build towards this idea of this Academy of Permaculture. We're seeing here a friend of mine, a UK-based Ugandan friend of mine. I was travelling with, talking to Rose at her tree nursery there in Rwanda. Rose has a deep interest in permaculture. This is her at her home garden. She has this, it's actually not very big, but a really beautiful forest garden. And I don't do it justice remembering all the different plants that she had in there, but coffee, mangoes, taro, avocado. I remember there were herbs like Artemisia that she was using to control malaria and so forth. But really just showing that you can really grow fantastic polycultures in a tropical climate of Rwanda, where there's plenty of moisture as well. I think living in a very rural district, this is in the southern district of Rwanda, people don't starve, but there is a general danger of malnourishment, especially in formative years. There's a very heavy leaning on carbohydrates in the African diet, and obviously it's energy and sustains people, but can have long-term nutritional deficiencies as well. So there's an enormous need and enormous value for growing and producing fresh green leafy veg and fruits. And as Rose said, without food there's no life. It's the learning that we've all had in bringing permaculture into the world is we're not proselytizing, standing on soapboxes, proclaiming this sort of wonderful thing. You have to experience it. Permaculture is something you do much more and see and interact with. And what this project has enabled us to do, and what we're so grateful for, was the opportunity to work with, in this case, Save School in the Gisagara district in Rwanda. We're just over 2 years into this now. And features of the school are, it's a beautiful location. You can imagine investment money, global, coming in to Rwanda, sort of post, the terrible genocide of 1994, and really investing in the next generation. There's a real determination and commitment to invest into the next generation and to create a future for this really beautiful country. But so many new schools being built, but you can see they're being built on maybe more the remaining land. It's a small country, the land of 1,000 hills, they call Rwanda. It does not have a lot of flat land, so you can here see school buildings fitting into really quite a steep, sloping landscape. And of course, Rwanda is a country that has very intense, heavy tropical downpours, and something which is being exacerbated through climate change. And just a few short hours of heavy rainfall can cause massive gully erosion and topsoil loss, and clearly this was evident all over the school grounds, and you could see how the schools, it's focused on being a school. It's thinking about, students and pupils and textbooks and, I don't know, exams and the kind of timetables. And also, we've learned by working with schools is they're also constantly changing and evolving. So that's a challenge for landscaping and design in that environment. But still, this is all part of the learning of the project. You can see here how the foundations of this building already just being washed away. It's only a few years old, and you can see places all over the school where that kind of erosion is happening, and it's the kind of thing that tends to accelerate, tends to exacerbate, as it goes on. So the interventions are required, even at this stage, earlier the better, to think about that. So I think people know water runs downhill, and so therefore we don't need to be brilliant observers to be able to predict what's going to happen. And the general approach used in permaculture design is to slow things down. We don't want water to cascade down the landscape quickly, accelerating, having an increasing ability to carry water. What we want is for it to go sideways. We want it to soak into the ground. We want to slow everything down so we don't have erosion. And so obviously being able to find contours and measure contours is a useful thing. And then maybe excavating ditches and trenches along those contours, building berms, and then also planting along those contours as well, so that the roots of the trees help stabilize the soils. They also help interact in the rainfall and slow that down, but then also soak up and utilize that water, convert it into into food. So these are the ideas that we discussed in February 2020, and Rose set off at that point. And of course, we went at that point straight into the pandemic and all of the restrictions that have happened around there. So it's been a kind of stop-start. It's been hard to maintain momentum, but we have. I'm just so impressed. I have to say, I'm so impressed with what they have achieved at this project. And the school as well has invested in some rainwater catchment and soakaways, and I think a mixture of joining these different techniques together opens up many possibilities. And you can see here, looking down onto the campus, again, these constructing these what we call swales, water harvesting ditches that run on contour, that are designed not to channel water, but to hold it, to slow it down so that it will soak into the soil. And you can see we've got some lovely soils here and the ability to hold a lot of water. And something which we've learned along the way is the best place to hold water is in the soil. It stays there for a long time, and it's there where it can nourish plants. Rose and her team have had to obviously do a lot of consultation with the school and explore ways in which they can understand how the school campus is used, but also so that they can make the interventions that they need to make to be able to slow down this rainwater and to stop this gully erosion that's happening. So they've been able to inspire, mobilize teams of people and do what is really a lot of work, and to stress it really has all been done by hand. and to follow these design ideas, and to maintain it over a long period of time. That's also been, a big part of the challenge. So here we can see some of the areas now becoming school gardens, and engaging with the community, with teachers, with pupils, with people's families, to start growing cover crops and growing and food crops, as well as establishing the long-term sort of structural parts of the design, which is the fruit trees, which are going to sit and work with the swale system. So again, you can see significant interventions have been made. A lot of effort, physical handwork has gone in to break the flow of this rainwater. And so there's the physical structural work, and then there's the engaging with the kids, with the pupils, inspiring them, getting them interested. And here we can see Rose doing exactly that, and trying to build an awareness of what's going on and interest, so that the school itself now can begin to absorb permaculture ideas. And through this partnership and through working with a key teacher, Rose has been able to create a permaculture club within the school, and especially engaging the kids and growing on the vegetable growing, and also in the other tasks. But a lot of it is a key part is that awareness of, so that people can understand what's going on around them, and encourage them to engage with that. So where are all these fruit trees going to come from? Well, we're going to have to make them. With limited funds and limited availability, the way to do things in again with a permaculture mindset on it is, can we generate the resources that we need on site? So then we don't need any transport. So here we are creating a nursery for tree propagation and grafting, and actually creating thousands of trees. Here I think we're seeing avocados, I know there's guavas, there's been many other things going into the system. And then engaging again, once with the kids, with the wider design and with the community, to get things established and planted. So I think this is about a year ago now. We see the first of those grafted and propagated trees going in. Strategically placed. So this is in this picture, Rose is just explaining to the person she's working with, is there's an overall design for the whole school, and each one of these trees is just an element as part of a bigger design, and it's part of water catchment and harvesting, soil stabilization, then obviously creating more sheltered, shaded zones for the children to hang out, and then ultimately food and supporting the nutrition, obviously, at the school. So it's been a very careful piecing together and placement of elements, so that we can significantly reduce the erosion of the school, and kind of, this is our chance to show permaculture. We're interested in multiple functions. We're interested in how solving problems through design, not by throwing resources or throwing money at it, but by strategically placing elements to support a wider long-term goal. So we were happy to receive these photos just today in February 22, as we are, and now seeing some of those trees really getting established and getting away. And that's so exciting to see. Here's our link teacher checking on one of the plants, and again, just seeing how they're really establishing well. Look how they've been mulched as well. We've put dead grasses and things around them to feed the trees and to push away the living grass. And this has been a repeat process, so that Rose has been through this. The groups and the people who've engaged with the gardens have become more and more firmer and stronger. And a specific strand that has come out of this is a group of women and girls from the school who, and because of large distances in Africa, a lot of kids spend a lot of time away from their homes. when they're in education, especially young girls sometimes can be really very shy and very inexperienced because of the nature of perhaps the backgrounds they come from, and when they're coming to the school, you know, they're slightly vulnerable and they need support. And so the Rwandan women's permaculture has really connected through women and girls at school to be inclusive and to participate in activities such as coming around and mulching and supporting these trees and nursing them into life from their early, you know, tender and vulnerable stages. And you know, as much as there's lots of moisture and good rainfall in Rwanda, they still have very hot, dry periods, and the challenge of keeping a nursery going through those times are difficult, and obviously through a pandemic as well. So I really congratulate. I'm so impressed by this work, and here we are. Look, already baby avocados forming on this really young tree, and it's just exciting to think about how these things might multiply together over time and really have a significant impact across the school. So here's Rose having a meeting again in February 22 with the head teacher and with the link teacher, and in the course of recent months they have signed a memorandum of understanding so that the permaculture club can find a sort of a permanent place, we hope, within the school, and also that the school then can become a sort of a flagship, something that we can point at and celebrate as, you know, the potentials of what permaculture design can do, especially in educational environment. So as much as we're talking about community gardening in this context, so again, we've created a demonstration garden and a landscaping project within a school community, an educational community, an ideal place to be. Through that, Rose has built connections into the wider and surrounding community, and has also been encouraged to go out into that community and interact with them to start off other kitchen garden projects. And we love our raised beds in permaculture. We like concentrating the elements together, building very carbon rich soils that will hold water, that are easy to access, and also that teach people to have an empathy with soil and really think about compost and mulch and all of those processes. And yeah, here's some different examples of some wonderful raised beds created out of local materials, and we can imagine the story of engagement that might happen around that with the surrounding communities. People coming together to grow food are also far more likely to share that food when it comes to consuming it, because they've created that together, which is always a wonderful thing to see. So that kind of completes the story, but it takes us to the beginning of something, which is Rose wants to convene and launch the Rwandan Women's Permaculture as an organisation, to reach out way beyond just her district in the south of Rwanda. And it's exciting to think where this will go, and where these women will take these ideas and inspirations. It's not about being exclusive to women or anything like that. You can see a couple of male partners in that picture there too. But it's really about making women welcome and understanding their role that they play in food production and in obviously in the whole nutrition and care is so important, and also understanding that often women are so easily overlooked or fail to be reached through aid programs and government programs. So Rose is very conscious of these things, and this brings that into her work. They've come up with a lovely logo, a lovely a picture, a vision of working together with nature and harmony, and I believe they're creating a really positive vision and a way forward for a really, really beautiful country, which still is shaking off the trauma of the terrible events that happened a long time ago in the 90s, and it's about the future, it's about growing, it's about inclusivity, it's about creating new opportunities, and really addressing food insecurity. Thank you very much for your attention. Yeah, thanks for listening. I introduced myself at the beginning. I was Steve Jones, director of Sector 39, and our vision is to create partnerships and to be inclusive and to sort of to collect these stories. I really want to share the outcomes from different projects, and and to find ways to support it, pioneers and teachers to amplify what they're doing. Thank you very much.